Everybody, welcome to Texas News Studio. I'm your host, Mark Myers. Want to get you caught up on today's news headlines. Hope you're doing well wherever you may be today. So we got a lot going on. Let me quickly give some shout outs right now to everybody as you come on in. Good to see everybody over on Twitch, Retro, Rhonda, Rip It, and 100 of you. And then good to see everybody over on Rumble as well, Tamara as well. Good to see you, and A-Train, and 270 plus of you, and over on YouTube tonight. So let me go ahead and get you caught up on some of the developments of the day. Of course, a lot of different things going on. First off, we've been watching the drone situation, which I'm going to talk about that story. Also, we're looking at possible another Russian potential missile or IRB attack coming up in the next maybe 48 hours, or at least there's some talk about that. And plus the potential ceasefire or lack of ceasefire concerning Israel and Hezbollah, some of the developments on that. Those are the big stories. But let me go ahead and get you caught up on this story here about the developments with the drone situation. And again, just to let you know, we've been having these reports. This one's actually this time over in the UK, but again, unidentified drones have been seen over 3 U.S. Air Force bases in the UK for the second week now, been prompting the deployment of 60 British counter-drone specialists. Now, these drones have been observed near bases in Feltwell, Mendenhall, and Lakenheath. Now, these are home to America's F-35 and F-15 fighter wing in Europe and are under active monitoring by the Pentagon. Goes on to say that General Pat Ryder stated that the UAVs haven't impacted missions, but emphasized the seriousness of the situation. Past unexplained drone swarms over U.S. military sites include Langley Air Force Base and Edwards Air Force Base, raising questions about their origins. And of course, there's been talk that this could be from foreign state actors. So we're watching that very closely. And while we're at it in here tonight, good to see Hilly in here tonight over on YouTube, and our moderators, Desert, everybody coming up in here. So guys, good to see y'all. In terms of the the next report, up to maybe 188 drones. The next report here is actually coming from the Daily Mail. Got this report up for you real quick. Again, 60 British troops hunt for drone pilot flying devices over U.S. Air Force bases. And these are, of course, a fleet of unmanned aerial systems, again spotted near bases in Suffolk and Norfolk, amid fears of a sinister plot. This is dealing with the UK this time, but dozens of British troops have been drafted, actually, in order to help the United States Air Force find out who's responsible for drones flying over 3 air bases in England, amid fears it could be linked to a sinister plot. And again, a small number of drones have already been detected near 3 bases in eastern England that are used by American forces. These drones were spotted overnight flying over RAF Lakenheath and RAF Mendenhall in Suffolk and RAF Feltwell in Norfolk, the USAF confirmed. And again, about 60 British troops have now been reportedly scrambled to help the USAF with its probe of the incident. Now, they're saying, according to the article here, that some of the troops could be believed to be air defense specialists. They have the new Orcus counter-drone weapons, which can jam the signal to hostile devices, allowing friendly forces to take over the controls. Very interesting. Says a former British Army intelligence officer told the Mail Online the unmanned devices could have been deployed by Russia's spy agency, the GRU, although U.S. military sources say the UAVs were not identified as hostile. Interesting. Says the USAF has not identified who is believed to be behind the spate of sightings. However, a UK military source said the activity could be related to something, quote, sinister. Very interesting. going on with the article in here, guys, says the USAF has not identified who, again, is believed to be behind the spate of sightings. However, UK military source said the activity could be related, again, to something sinister. They would not draw on whether Russia or Russia itself was suspected to be involved. The source told the Times it could be a bunch of wits and some interesting language who were responsible, or it could be something more sinister and someone who's paying them to do that. Says the USAF, according to the article, says the number of sightings fluctuated and varied between the bases, but the drones have not, again, keep on saying, not identified as hostile. That's interesting. Comes days after it was confirmed that a small number of unmanned aerial systems were spotted in the vicinity of 3 bases between Wednesday and Sunday. Says UK authorities are working to ensure the safety of the sites. And it goes on to talk about the statement here. The USAF in Europe said, we can confirm there were sightings yesterday during nighttime hours and can only confirm that the number fluctuated and varied between the bases over the night. Says since November the 20th, there has been no impact to residents or infrastructure, and they've not, again, they keep on saying, not identified as hostile. Says they are still continuously being monitored to ensure the safety and security of the installation. Spokesman for the Ministry of Defense says we take threats seriously and maintain robust measures at defense sites. Says we are supporting the U.S. Air Force response. Again, the spy master, according to the article, Colonel Philip Ingram, who's a British military intelligence officer, claimed Russia could potentially be behind the incident. Says this would fit with the GRU and how it operates. Says I don't think they're necessarily trying to gather intelligence, but they could be looking to test responses. Says it's not about disruption, it's about them doing this out of, quote, badness. It will be little schoolboys doing something in the playground and giggling about it. Also says it could be part of escalatory tactics by Russia. We've had bomb scares around railway stations in London and elsewhere. They say there are measures believed to be underway to neutralize these drones. Lakenheath is also home to the 48th Fighter Wing, which the U.S. Air Force describes as the foundation of its combat capability in Europe. It also appears to be poised to house U.S. nuclear weapons for the first time in 15 years, and a site of major strategic significance as the U.S. moves to bolster its European presence in the face of Russian expansionism. And then Mendenhall hosts the 100th Air Fueling Wing, and Feltwell is a hub for housing, schools, and other services. This incident also comes after a mystery drone which resisted attempts to jam it when it flew over the Royal Navy aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth during the flagship vessel's visit to Hamburg last week. So again, we're keeping an eye on that development very closely. The next one in here, guys, I want to make you aware of the situation with, we're watching, of course, this very closely, with Russia, and also the potential testing that may or may not be coming up. I want to put this up on screen because this doesn't always mean anything, or it may mean something. But we've had reports that within the next 48 hours or so, and this is actually, we got a report from the Russian Ministry of Defense that there would be a response to Ukraine's drones that have been going into the Russian territory. And this is what I'm looking at right now today, is we can see a potential NOTAM, and that's a notice to airmen, has actually been issued for the closure of airspace of the Kapustin Yar test site until November the 30th. That's the general area, if I remember correctly, where the IRBM came from. Again, this is something we're going to keep a very close eye on over the next few days as well, over the next 4 days, to see if something pops up. And the way these things usually time out, they're usually later in the evening or during the overnight hours. The last one, I believe, occurred after we went off the air. So again, just stay with us. Guys over on YouTube, we've got a Rumble channel and Twitch channel that's always running 24/7. So there's chat. People that are in the know, monitoring the news developments, would be letting you know what's going on even at 3 in the morning, okay? So I want to make you aware of that. But that's something, just one potential. Doesn't mean anything's going to happen, but just a lot of talk, and we'll keep you informed no matter what. And I just took myself off here. Here we go, back. What else? Ron is reporting again tonight with Israel. Potential ceasefire. Evacuation warnings are being issued as the ceasefire is set to begin in about 2 hours and 30 minutes. So we're watching that. Had some red alerts as well across Israel tonight. So let's continue on with some of the other developments we got. Again, we're watching the situation with Ukraine, Russia, also again with Israel. I've got this report here. This is coming from Zero Hedgeway, and they're concerned about what's going on in the world. And you can check it out. But again, this is coming from Brandon Smith over at Alt Market. Says there are considerable and insidious forces at play when it comes to development of the war in Ukraine. And a swirling mass of think tanks, globalists, and bureaucrats are doing everything in their power to instigate an international conflict between the U.S., the EU, and Russia. Says they're specifically been looking for a way to leverage the Western populace in supporting direct and open warfare. And again, it's a pretty long article, but again, they're looking at a very strong concern, which we've been telling you about. The globalists and others would try to create a very nasty time for Trump so that he would be unable to do much with trying to get a situation and peace between Ukraine and Russia based on what we're seeing. Again, and it's just not really looking good right now. But again, we're looking at long-range strikes into Russia will set in motion more Russian strikes on major cities in the west of Ukraine where the majority of the population lives. And again, these areas have gone largely untouched during the duration of the war. And Putin, despite what the media claims, has been careful to limit the targeting of larger civilian centers. But again, that will end if NATO missiles hit the Russian cities. Says the idea that ballistic volleys into Russia using NATO-supplied missiles won't result in Putin using MOABs or nukes is truly insane. So talking about how the globalist think tanks and what they're thinking about. Says the timing of the Kursk offensive and the call for missile strikes on Russia is not a coincidence. Says Trump claims that his intention to end the Ukraine war as quickly as possible once he enters the office. So they need to escalate the war into something bigger and something that can't be undone. Of course, right now the war can't be ended. All it takes is some diplomacy and forcing Ukraine to understand that they're not going to get the Donbass or Crimea back no matter how many lives they sacrifice. So, but if there's massive civilian casualties on either side, the situation becomes irreversible. The person here, this analyst here over at Zero Hedge, is talking about that most of the events have already taken place since August. Says there is a good chance that we will see a mushroom cloud over Ukraine or an adjacent region in the near future unless there is serious intervention to defuse the conflict. Says the next 2 months will be key. So I've been getting a lot of this, guys, ever since Biden has allowed this to happen. Things are really taking a change and not for the good. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. But that's coming over the Zero Hedge article and talking about, again, this one here. Oh, that's the same report. Sorry. I want to get you caught up on here. We've had U.S. bombers intercepted by Russian jets near Kaliningrad on Monday. Again, two B-52 Stratofortress bombers of the United States were intercepted by two Russian Su-27 fighter jets near the Russian Baltic Sea enclave of Kaliningrad on Monday. U.S. officials said on Tuesday. Says the U.S. bombers were in the Baltic Sea region to train together with their NATO ally Finland, which shares 1,340 kilometers, that's about 833 miles of border with Russia, again amid escalating tensions stemming from Western backing for Ukraine to counter Russia's invasion, I should say. Says again, Monday's interception of the U.S. bombers by Russian fighter jets came just days after Russia fired a hypersonic intermediate-range ballistic missile at Ukraine last Thursday, in response to a decision by the U.S. and Britain to allow Kyiv to strike inside Russian territory with advanced Western weapons. It goes on to say that the U.S. bombers did not change their pre-planned flight patterns during what was deemed a safe and professional intercept by the Russian Su-27s, says the official told Reuters. So that's the world we're in right now. The next one in here, a couple other quick reports. The next one in here, I'll let you know, guys, Trump has finalized his cabinet, prepping for inauguration. Again, Trump has finalized his cabinet selections, they're saying, paving the way for his team to begin preparing for the January 20th inauguration. Susie Wiles, Trump's incoming chief of staff, announced that the transition now involves deploying landing teams to agencies and executing an MOU with the Biden administration to ensure an orderly handover. The plan emphasizes minimizing taxpayer cost, avoiding GSA resources, and securing classified access to prepare Trump's administration for day one. I got to show you this, coming from John Kerry. John Kerry says people need to behave. Says we're on the brink of needing to declare a climate emergency, which is what we really have, and we need to get people to behave. Let me put this up for y'all, so you can behave. Let's put this up on screen.
People in Africa don't have electricity, need to choose the right kinds of electricity, and we need to help them be able to afford it and do it. We are the largest economy in the world, $24 trillion or $23 trillion economy, maybe more by now. The next closest is China at about 18 trillion. And the next closest to the two of us, Germany and Japan at 4 trillion. That's how far it drops down. You don't think we have some sort of obligation out of that to be responsible? I think you do. But I'm just saying that our country needs to talk about this. And we need to make it happen because we're paying huge sums of money to make up the difference.
All right. So I want to make you aware of that one. The next one in here. Hey, good to see John in here tonight. Let's look at this one in here. This broke today. Again, the court dismissed Trump classified documents. Again, the U.S. Appeals Court dismissed an attempt to revive the classified documents case against Trump after prosecutors dropped their appeal. Again, the decision follows the dismissal of a separate case accusing Trump of trying to overturn the 2020 election, with special counsel Jack Smith citing the DOJ policy against prosecuting sitting presidents. So again, both federal cases against him have been formally closed. Also, talking about Israel, which we've been monitoring now this evening. Again, U.S. to support Lebanese army in maintaining ceasefire. Senior U.S. official announced plans to work with the Lebanese army to ensure the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah is upheld, but emphasized no U.S. combat troops will be deployed. Official called the agreement brokered by the U.S. and France a game changer aimed at delinking conflicts in Gaza and Lebanon. Again, we've had reports that are going to take effect on Wednesday at 4 a.m. We'll see if that takes place or not. Doing that. While we're at it right now, we are having an air raid alert in Kyiv that just popped up moments ago. We're keeping a close eye on that. Hi, thanks, Chi-Town. Thank you. Let's look at this real quick over here on the War Monitor on here and pull this up real quick. So cams are up, got an air raid alert over in Kyiv. We'll keep you updated on that. Things are tense in the world, especially now between Russia and NATO. Going ahead with the situation with Israel, just to let you know, and this is interesting here, it says nearly 10,000 buildings have been destroyed by Hezbollah in Israel's north. It's a Zero Hedge article. Nearly 10,000. Again, this has been going on today and into this evening again over in Israel. Israel-Hezbollah clashes have intensified ahead of the ceasefire, not really surprised. Again, fire exchanges between Israel and Hezbollah persist at the Israeli Air Force that's conducted strikes on targets in Beirut. So there's been some direct, did a direct strike in the central station, Kiryat Shimon, with fire and rescue teams responding on the scene. So we've had multiple red alerts today, lighting up the map over in Israel as we wait and see if things will hold for a ceasefire. Also, Trump team prepares to announce Greer as trade representative. But again, concerning Israel, the Lebanon ceasefire is to go into effect in about 2.5 hours. IDF may start to withdraw in a day with Air Force protection as forces redeploy back in Israel. It says Army used last day of fighting for relentless strikes on Beirut and smuggling routes from Syria. This is coming from Israel Radar. See if that holds or not. What else do we got in here that I will need to make you aware of? Oh, this is something I want to share with y'all. This is, well, look at this. This just popped up. Okay, got a couple things going on with Russia. Again, we talked about this earlier, about the Russia issuing the NOTAM. Hal Turner's got it up, but this has already been reported from others again. Doesn't mean necessarily anything's going to happen, but we want to keep an eye on it. Again, Russia has issued another notice to air mission, NOTAM, closing its airspace. This is the area from which Russia launched its new Orishnik ballistic missile at Ukraine last week. Well, that is true. Since that Russian launch, which utterly obliterated a Soviet-era munitions factory inside Ukraine, says Ukrainians have again used American supplies ATACMS to launch at least 3 more attacks into Russia, primarily in the Kursk region. He's reporting here. So we're going to have that. Also, the Russian television is showing graphics to viewers describing how fast the Orishnik missile can hit U.S. bases in the Middle East and U.S. bases in Alaska, Pearl Harbor, and Guam, and U.S. Minuteman III missile silos in Montana and North Dakota. So there's a lot of that in here. This is the Sputnik media that's reporting that, but it does show what they can do from these different areas in here. Very, very interesting. And this just popped up as well. FEMA now is America on the brink. This is this report here. FEMA issues nuclear survival guide amid escalating global tensions as international conflicts intensify. The U.S. government provides citizens with essential guides to endure potential nuclear attack. Okay, like FEMA's really going to help any of us. But I'll put this up on screen here. Hey, Tater, I missed you. Thanks, Tater. Good to see you. Hey, Brian, good to see everybody tonight. Okay, this is coming from Squawk. Let me show you this. We've had these reports before, but this is recent today. And let me take this down. America on the brink. FEMA issues nuclear survival guide amid escalating global tensions. And the article goes on to say, the U.S. government, through the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is taking decisive action to provide essential survival information to its citizens. Says FEMA, a trusted source of emergency preparedness, has issued a comprehensive guide that clearly outlines the necessary steps to take during a nuclear explosion. Says it's critical that everyone understands these measures and is prepared to act swiftly in such a scenario. Goes on to say FEMA's guidance emphasized 3 crucial steps: get inside, stay inside, and stay tuned. Citizens are encouraged to seek immediate shelter in a sturdy building, ideally in a basement or a central room away from windows, to reduce exposure to harmful radiation. Says to remain indoors for at least 24 hours. It's essential unless authorities provide different instructions. Says staying informed through official channels is vital. Says the agency highlights the severe consequences of nuclear explosions, which include intense heat, blast waves, and radiation, all which can cause catastrophic damage and casualties. Fallout's a particular concern. Radioactive debris propelled into the atmosphere, which can reach ground level within 15 minutes of the detonation. Again, this fallout poses significant health risk due to the high levels of radiation it emits. Interesting, guys. What else, guys? What we got here? Looking through some of the other headlines of the day. The next developments in here. Now, when concerning Russia, Russia did launches a record 188 drones against critical infrastructure in Ukraine. That's one report from Zero Hedge we got here. Ben & Jerry sues parent company over censorship of leftist ideology. Also coming from Zero Hedge. I want to catch you up also, China, because we don't want to let you, there's so many developments in the world, but sometimes we miss a few things as well, a lot, obviously. Chinese warplanes track U.S. Navy aircraft through the sensitive Taiwan Strait. That's coming from the Hindu Times. Again, U.S. military patrol plane transits Taiwan Strait. China protests latest U.S. Navy P-8 mission over the Taiwan Strait, coming from the Aviationist. China scrambles jets against U.S. military plane, coming from Newsweek. Same thing, China deploys warplanes to monitor U.S. military flights over the Taiwan Strait, coming from First Post. We've been watching about cyber attacks as well, considering what would happen from Russia and into the UK, or here in the United States into Europe. That's been a big development as well. We've had Microsoft outages lately. What's going on? Outage still causing lingering issues with email. That's coming from Yahoo Finance UK about 3 hours ago. Also, the Microsoft outage slowly resolves from Fox 10 News. It disrupted Outlook and Teams, affecting thousands. Also affected 365 Outlook users. What else? Insider Paper reported a little while ago that Hezbollah says launched drones at sensitive military targets in Tel Aviv. What else, guys? As I'm looking through all the different feeds coming in. Sometimes if I miss your chat, I'll get back to you in a minute. Looking just at the latest developments in here. This is interesting. Coming from the Liberty Daily, it says America starts talks on deal to ramp up troop deployments to Fiji. Let me pull this up real quick. This is coming here. Lloyd Austin announced $5 million in military aid for the Pacific Island nation. The U.S. and Fiji have begun talks on a military pact meant to ramp up U.S. troop deployments to the Pacific Island nation as part of the U.S. buildup in the region that's aimed at China. The SOFA will enable us to deploy and redeploy forces in support of Fiji and help us train with the Fijians on a very routine basis. So he signed a logistics deal with Fijian officials that the Pentagon said was meant to increase emergency cooperation between the two nations. This $5 million, which will go toward the purchase of small arms. What else, guys? Let me get you caught up on a couple of other things as well, guys. We want to get you a quick weather update across the country today. Again, we're looking at some pattern changes coming up. It looks like it'll be trending colder over the country going further. On Thursday, though, just to let you know, first off, and let me go ahead and get you the weather report here. Let's get you caught up here. On Thursday, on Thanksgiving Day, we're looking at generally dry and cooler weather across the central continental United States. Scattered rain showers across the eastern U.S. and scattered snow across the northeast. But right now, as you can see, in terms of the current temperatures, it's really chilly across the northern plains. 19 in Bismarck right now, 23 up in toward International Falls, 27 up in Minneapolis, 37 over in Chicago. I'm 59 here in Dallas. We'll be actually up to 80 tomorrow here in Dallas. So it's going to warm up a lot. That happens down here in Texas in the wintertime. It can be cold one day, chilly, cool, cold, and warm the next day. So it does happen. That's one of the advantages of living in Texas in the wintertime, that we can change pretty quickly. On the downside, in the summer, it can be really hot, and it can stay hot pretty much all summer long. But if you're looking across the rest of the nation right now, here's the southeast. Here's Florida right now, generally in the 70s, not too bad. 70 up in Jacksonville, 75 in Miami. So not too bad. The dew point's not too bad either. And as you can see across the northeastern United States, it's chilly. 36 up in Caribou, Maine, 39 over in Boston right now. 57 looks like over at JFK. And again, across the northern tier of the United States, pretty chilly. And much colder as you go up into Canada, with temperatures in the teens to even a few places below zero. The Pacific Northwest, generally in the 30s and 40s and 50s. Phoenix is not bad. It's 77 degrees right now. 75 again over in El Paso. So again, not a whole lot of activity across the central United States right now, or the country as a whole, but there'll be some activity again, as we mentioned, on Thanksgiving Day, especially across the eastern half of the country. All right, let me check in with you all tonight. Hey, okay. Okay, I didn't catch what's going on in chat. So what's going on here? Let me look here. Mark says, okay. So let me know what's going on, because I didn't catch everything in our chat here, guys. Well, I'm looking at here, there's Stevens in here. Snow. Someone say snow. So let's get caught up in here in chat. Yeah, I can do whatever it was. I didn't see what you all said in chat on YouTube, but yeah, we can do a call sometime in a Zoom call. I believe I can. I'd have to set it up because I don't use Zoom very often, but I could probably figure that out for everybody. Going on. By the way, the New York City NYC preps for Trump's crackdown by closing down migrant shelters. Mayor Eric Adams' administration is considering closing a Brooklyn tent complex housing 2,000 migrants, fearing Trump might cancel the federal land lease or send immigration officials to the site. The shelter, built on federal land at Floyd Bennett Field, could face closure before Trump's January inauguration, with city officials scrambling to relocate 500 families. Yeah, John, we can do that. We can do that. We can do a Zoom call sometime. We'll have to figure out a date and a time. Give me a little bit of heads up for that, and we can do that. It's not a problem on that. So we'll figure that out. and do that, guys, sometime. What else? So we can do that. Okay, guys, that's kind of my news update for today. I just want to get you caught up in the news report because things are definitely heating up in the world. We're watching, again, Russia and Ukraine very, very closely. Israel is supposedly going to have a ceasefire in about 2 hours or so, maybe, if things hold. So we got a lot going on in the news. Again, stay with TNS on our streaming platforms that are on Rumble and Twitch 24/7. So that's always running, even though we just do our usually once a day update here on YouTube. The rest of the platforms are always up and running no matter what. So we'll do that, guys. And then, as you all know the drill, your support keeps us going. And I got the links down below. We've been doing a lot better, though, on the support through the Rumble Ranch, which is great. And Twitch has been holding, so we're still got that platform up as well. So everything is slowly kind of coming back to normal, thankfully, after a little bit of tough times for a while. So we'll see how that continues on that. So I'm going to let you all go over on YouTube for now. And then we'll be back with you tomorrow, or if there's some other breaking news event, then I'll let you know what's going on. So I wanted to give everybody a thanks to our moderators tonight, and being John and Hilly and everybody else that's in here tonight. I want to thank you so much for joining us, okay? Very, very much. So I'm going to sign us off on YouTube tonight. Join us for the remainder of the night over on Rumble and Twitch, and I'll see you at the next report. For TNS, I'm Mark Myers, and I'll see you soon, okay? Take care, everybody.